Hello, everybody. Welcome to Expression Pass here on Boss Push Network. I'm your host, the Atlantic Excited Eddie. Joining me is the one, the only boss man himself, Mr. Corey Dirrig. Hello, good sir.
Hello.
Yeah, everybody, I'm just in a good, funny mood right now.
That makes one of us.
Okay. Corey up here
because I was cold and I had my hood up on my head, and he started laughing at me.
No, because it looked like you had the hoodie on, but you had your hat on top of it, and so the hoodie looked like hair, and then it had like an emo look. I'm just like, wait a minute, what is this? And it just made me fall out laughing.
I'm sorry, Ed. I didn't mean to make you laugh so hard.
No, I love when you make me laugh. That's what friends do. We try to make each other laugh. Hey, look, we still have our little say in Seattle. We won't reveal what it is, but that moment where we both fell out laughing.
That was funny.
West.
That was funny.
That was super funny.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
How's life, Ed? I feel like I never ask you how life's going.
Life is changing, I would say, for me. So work wise, by the time you guys see this, we one of our shift leads got transferred to another store, so we're kind of figuring out how the store is going to run for a bit. Definitely my store manager is figuring out her schedule, so I don't know if I'm going to be doing 6 days or 5 days still. A lot of things are just up in the air for right now, but that's kind of the only thing that is going on at the moment for me. Still getting some games out, literally starting next Monday, which is May 4th. No, May 5th, I believe. I will be starting up the video games, writing, the writing portion of it, personal interest. And then I got like I kind of figure out how I kind of want to release it. Like Sundays are going to be the intros for each week for 3 weeks, and then Monday to Friday is the main blogs. It is Saturday, hopefully release like a video podcast or audio podcast for that, and then there'll be a additional podcast which is going to be the epilogue. And I've just been thinking about, you know, games definitely for me, that kind of just not only kind of changed my life as, being a gamer and wanting me to write, but, help me, get, better my skill in gaming, help me learn about music and how developers compose stuff, and um just even like everybody already know that Final Fantasy 9 with Vivi and stuff and relating to characters and stuff. And it's kind of been interesting things, just stuff to think about. And starting when I get to writing this project, it's gonna kind of probably reveal more things that I find beautiful in games, because I think when you find something, a game that even if other people don't like it, but it means so much to you, that it helped you become something of what you are today, and that you hope you pass down to family or other friends. It's always something about when you have a personal interest in a video game or any kind of form of art or entertainment. Um, there's always something beautiful about that, having that connection. And so I'm super excited to be writing this project, and really just celebrating it. And this might be just a personal thing for me. Hopefully, a lot of people do read it, but I feel like everybody has a personal interest, as a game or some kind of art or entertainment. It could be music or whatever, the case may be. Uh, I'm super excited just to start writing it and just be able to talk about it with hopefully other people, like when it comes to the podcast, it's just like really get other people's expression about finding beauty in their personal interests in games. So
Cool. Nice. Well, looking forward to that.
yeah,
I don't have
so
anything cool like that coming up. Just trying to survive,
um,
man. Just trying to survive.
that is that is true. Yeah, so because I think for me, uh, being raised with a lot of Japanese games before modern gaming got popular. Um, and American companies and kind of like Europe also kind of took over and was delivering these biggest experiences stuff and everything. It's just now we got just the whole world now actually making gaming. Just like it's even, but it's making gaming so exciting and stuff. Um, Coming from a Nintendo point of view, um, with just WiiWare and indies, and then Wii U, how indies kind of took a big place with that, and now you look at Switch and Switch 2, how indies from around the world, not only are they getting their stuff on consoles, but just like the impact they had on the Switch and Switch 2. It's just Nintendo gamers and stuff. And how good as a business, and we talked about this, Corey, about how indie games kind of saved a lot of developers.
Mhm.
Um, just from everywhere. Kamiko, which was a game that was only in Japan that everybody was trying to get to the Japanese eShop to buy it, with the free region thing, and then later on it came here. Um, like that was just so cool to experience.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think we all became fascinated with Japan when we were
Mhm.
young because of games, right? Like it was the mystery Japan was the mysterious magical land where all these magical things came from, right? And like, I
Yeah,
mean, there weren't very I mean, there were, right? But I think a lot of people kind of associated a lot of these games with Japan because of, Capcom, Konami, Nintendo, Sega, right? Like yeah, you had Atari, right? Like you had some of these companies that were Western, but Activision
yeah,
and stuff like that. But like, nothing, nothing compared to what Japan was doing on the Nintendo, right? On the NES with,
mhm.
I mean, you look at Konami and Capcom alone, essentially carrying the system, right? With
Oh,
Ninja
yeah.
Turtles, Metal Gear, Mega Man, you know, all of these amazing games. And it just kept continuing, I mean, it still continues this day. I mean, look at Capcom now, Konami's getting back into
Yeah,
the game. Like Sega is definitely a different company, but it's probably doing better than they've ever done, really, right? Like,
ever since to me personally, ever since the Sega Genesis days, like, Sega's been killing it because it's always been a up and down with Sega, like, literally after the Genesis, but I'm just like, they're still here.
mhm. Yeah, I mean, they've made a lot of smarter decisions, though, right? I mean, like
Mhm.
Sega Sammy acquiring Atlas was a smart move, and kind of doubling down on the Yakuza franchise has been, up until this last one, right? Like relatively successful for them. I don't,
Yeah.
I don't think the Hawaii one sold very well, but I think it's just because these games they put out like 3 of them a year. It's either like a spinoff, a remake, and a new game, and you know, uh,
Yeah, the second the Hawaii Like a Dragon game, or are you talking about the Yakuza Pirates?
I'm talking about
Uh,
the pirate one.
the pirate one.
Yeah.
The pirate one is kind of like a low key one. Yeah, I really don't know the sales for that, but I definitely know the sequel to Like a Dragon like sold very well. There's been a lot of posting about my top 4, like, RPGs, and Like a Dragon has been popping up, along with Xenoblade Chronicles 3, which is, um, surprising, and then Expedition 33 has also been coming
Well,
up. Uh
Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is coming up because Crimson Desert is like the massive game people are playing right now, right? That
Mhm.
kind of like
Yeah.
single player pseudo MMO thing. I haven't really been paying much attention to it, but there everybody's talking about how big that map is, and apparently like Xenoblade Chronicles map is like 3 times the size of it
Oh, wow.
still, and it's like, well,
Yeah, seeing it that map is huge at 3.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. I think we're seeing a lot of I think it has a lot to do too with like a lot of I don't want to say all non-Western developers, but like
Mhm.
it's much cheaper to make games over there. Not just Japan, but like Korea and some of these other places. Games are coming out of Eastern Europe and places like that. It's cheaper. Plus, like they don't have to. They don't really worry about what their shareholders think, even though they're publicly traded. Most of them, you know. I mean, like we
Mhm.
talk about all the time. Nintendo's a publicly traded company, but they don't they continue to like not care what their investors say. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
uh, if you're investing in Nintendo, you should know what you're investing in, right? You know, it's not like investing in Microsoft and well, when's the next Halo game coming out? It's not like um so yeah, man, I just feel like I feel like living in the United States, we are going to start experiencing a lot more foreign games than we already are, just
Mhm.
because they seem to be cheaper and uh they also like you look at Crimson Desert, right? Like they've updated that game like 15 times and it's only been out 2 weeks because they're like listening to player feedback and changing things and giving players things and making certain things easier, other things like like weapons and stuff, kind of nerfing them. And it's kind of like, I don't know, it just seems like they're trying over there to make this game what players want, and I think that's a good thing. And
Yeah.
they're not worried about like again, the game sold a ton of copies, but like they're not worried about what their like shareholders are saying to like fire people, right? They're just making the game and fixing the things that need fixed, and not like at least outwardly, you know, uh, for example, like Assassin's Creed Hex game, which is the next kind of mainline game,
Yeah.
has lost 2 directors in 2 weeks and just laid off 50 people. Why? Like, but that's the thing is like Ubisoft is going through this massive restructure because they are trying to appeal to shareholders and obviously the Tencent investment. So, um,
Yeah.
there's like a lot going on over there that like,
And and
the other developers just don't have to worry about because
and
they just
Tencent has
operate
been and
differently,
Tencent has been quiet lately. I know
Well,
a lot of
they
people.
operate under they have like I don't want to say like a shell company, but they have like a separate company that they operate their games business out of called like Level
Okay.
Infinite or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And so like everybody just says it's Tencent because it is Tencent, but it's technically Level Infinite most of the time.
Hmm. And I don't and I and this just may be me. People could take it or leave it. I don't have a uh ways towards Tencent, you
Well,
know.
it's not that people are like the thing with Tencent is that Chinese companies are run by the government, and the
Yeah.
government is not exactly um well, we know what the Chinese government does, right? But like
They're not
it's
they're
it
not favorable in some sites, I should say.
y- yeah, and so like it's the same way we talk about like the Saudi investment uh
Yeah.
stuff, like you don't want it's like okay, like I guess, but also like you don't really want to support how they do things, right? Like, I don't know. It's not to get political, right? But
Yeah.
like, there's just a lot of weird stuff that goes on in these other countries, and it's just like they don't really treat people right and pay their workers fairly and all these other things. And so when you're the communist government doesn't when they kind of run all the businesses, right,
Mhm.
you start to question things. But also, I'm not really smart enough to be talking about this, so I'll just shut up now. But
What
uh,
uh, um, goodness, who's the one company that was buying up all the
oh,
developers and,
Embracer Group.
Embracer Group? Well, and I don't that was a wild why, and the reason why I bring up Embracer Group because they it looked like Embracer Group was going to be big. It showed
I
some
mean,
kind of promise because
they were big, and then they started like it's the same. It's kind of the same problem Microsoft has, right? But at a at a larger scale and not enough money. But like
mm,
they own so many IP and had so many games in development that like you start putting these games out like every couple weeks, they're going to start cannibalizing each other's sales, right? Because like you're going to put Darksiders against Red Faction against Destroy All Humans against like Saints Row. They're not all like obviously they're not all the same game, but they're like the same level, like a double A experience, and like
the
kind of
THQ
these different,
stuff.
obviously the biggest stuff they owned, they got rid of, like Gearbox and, you know, uh, Crystal Dynamics and or Tomb Raider and all that stuff, right? So like I think they still own Crystal Dynamics, but it's complicated. I don't know. It's weird, man. It's weird
Yeah.
over there too. And then they rebranded because there's so much hate towards the Embracer Group that they rebranded. I don't remember what they rebranded to, but it's crazy over there. Careful, everybody.
Yeah, it's just kinda weird to think in, because I think it was it Activision? It was an Activision and Microsoft purchase, but I think it was that year when companies were just buying other companies in a sense, and then you just start seeing the I don't wanna say downfall, but, like, some of the results that was coming out for these purchases, and it was just like, "Oh, this is not good," and everything,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
uh, and stuff. But I
Yeah.
think that's why when we looked at Nintendo purchases and everything, I'm like, "Okay, Nintendo made smart investments. They made smart purchases and
Hmm.
everything," you know?
Yeah, and again, like Nintendo's not out there like trying to buy all these companies, like every company out
Mm,
under the sun either, right? They're just trying to like make the decisions that make the most sense, and I think that that's where you know Sony started getting a little ahead of themselves, especially with the games as a service initiative, and then obviously Microsoft, and
mhm.
they started out like, yay, yay, like everybody gets excited and excited, even more excited, and then you start seeing like the bigger names and how much money they're spending. You're like, yay, yeah, oh no, yay, oh no, you know what I mean? Like you're like tempering
Yeah.
your excitement. Uh, and that's something Josh and I talked about like really early on Xbox Casuals was like, man, like cool, Activision Blizzard is great, but look how much money you're spending and how is this going to affect the business? And clearly we see what's going on now. So obviously that's not the only problem, but like,
Well, it the thing was that with Microsoft and Activision Microsoft had 2 of the biggest names, and there was no doubt. They had ZeniMax and they had Activision Blizzard. Yes, Ninja Theory is a big name, but those that was like a studio. They were
mhm,
developers, they were work for hire before they came something like more focused. They were on Platinum Games level if you kinda see what both developers were going for, where both were at a time work for hire and stuff. Um,
mhm.
and they didn't have their own games until, Ninja Theory had Hellblade and, in a sense, Platinum Games did, Bayonetta, um, so it was kind of interesting to see, you know, that era of companies buying these big developers, or third party and stuff.
Mhm.
And I think for a lot of us, we were here in America, we were getting worried because, you know, we weren't focused on Japanese buying Japanese, you know, Bandai Namco, Koei Tecmo, um, those were just like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense," and and all they'll do, but it was just like, here in America, it started getting concerning to us because it's like, "Okay, whose game are we gonna be able to play?" And does that force us as consumers to buy these systems? Because now this is the realm of exclusives. And when I'm talking about exclusives, I'm like, don't forget those companies that Microsoft and Sony bought, those are not considered as first party, and they don't have to share with anybody if they don't want to,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the difference with Microsoft, at least, though, is like they still are, as of this recording, are exploring, what their multi-platform options are at this point,
Mhm.
right? Like, are they going to go back to um exclusives? Are they not? Like they have a lot of decisions to make, and I think that they need to make, smart ones, really. But also, how do you turn that back, and I think they do need to, like, honestly, I do think they need to go back to having somewhat of an exclusive lineup, right? Because, like, you're going to try to sell your box, and there's, I, e- the thing is like they have the components to do both, right?
Mhm.
They have other than Xbox Game Studios, they have two major publishers that they could totally use as third party publishers, right? Activision Blizzard, they could totally do third party stuff. Bethesda, you could probably go either way, right? But, like, they don't have to put Gears and Halo on PlayStation because they have Call of Duty and they can put Call of Duty on PlayStation,
Well, we
you know?
we've had this discussion about, you know, ZeniMax was already 3rd. Activision was already 3rd,
Yeah,
but the
I think it makes more
oh,
sense, though, like, if you're gonna keep one of them exclusive, it makes more sense for Bethesda, in my opinion. But then at that point, like, what about Doom and Wolfenstein? Those make a lot of sense to be multi-platform. So I don't know. It could be like a case by case basis essentially
and
for them, but,
and
like,
And I think Steam plays a part in that. Steam and Epic Games, or just the PC side of gaming. Like, you can't take, to me personally, you can't take the Bethesda stuff away from PC because a lot of their footing came from
well,
PC, or
all of the
foundation, I
Xbox
should
stuff
say.
is going to be on PC anyway, right? Because they
Yeah.
have the Xbox launcher on PC. Um, Laurent and I actually just talked a lot about all this on the Boss Rush podcast. It's probably 2 or 3 episodes old now, but whatever. But we talked about exclusivity and kind of like Microsoft's position, and Asha Sharma and Matt Booty are making some major changes over there, and they've already, they've been in this leadership position now for 70 days ish as of this recording, and, like, they've already lowered the price of Game Pass. Granted, it's
Mhm.
still $23 for Ultimate instead of 30, instead of 20, whatever you want to say. They are they just announced something today, actually, that they did.
The, I read that the April update for Xbox and
Oh, right,
Xbox
they're rolling
Pass.
out new updates for Xbox. Yeah, they're gonna start rolling out more updates for Xbox, like console updates.
I
Um,
think so. When I cut on my Xbox, it gave me like the black screen, and it was just like up doing the updates like 3 things updating, and I was wondering if that was the April update. I'm assuming it
I mean, it must
was.
be, right? I mean, I would assume so. Um, so yeah, I mean, they've got a lot going on. They've got a lot up their sleeve, I think. I think they've got a lot to work on, but also, hey man, I gotta give her credit though. She's really come in and like put her foot down and like making some, even if you don't like the moves, you gotta respect the force she's putting behind them, right? Like she's
Yeah.
really doing some good things over there. It's man, we I was talking with the Iron Lords about it on their podcast, and they, you know, we were just kind of like, man, she's like really making a name for herself over there. Like she has a much harder job than Phil did when he took over. I feel like, you know,
Yeah.
I really feel like that. Even though like the Xbox One was a disaster, like you start unpacking all the things that started going wrong with Xbox over the course of the last 3 or 4 whatever years, like lack of communication, you know, nobody's on the same page, you know, exclusives, not exclusives, PC, PlayStation, you know, like the fact that they were wearing PlayStation t-shirts at the Halo Championship series was like was like, you know, that's like, oh my gosh, you just stabbed every Xbox fan in the heart with that, right? Like, um, and here's the thing, right? Like, I have no doubt. Obviously, Halo campaign evolved is coming to PlayStation, right? There are a lot
Yeah.
of games in development now that are already coming to PlayStation. Like they're just too far along in the process, right? But what I was telling Cog and the Iron Lords the other day was like, you could have this huge marketing campaign of the return of Xbox exclusives and make it exciting for people, right? You could bring back the yellow only on Xbox stamp from the original Xbox, and you could be like,
Mhm.
you know, Halo, whatever they're calling it, Halo 7 or whatever. And then have it in like the big Xbox font, like that bold white silvery Xbox font on a black screen, only on Xbox. You know, Gears, have like a
I think.
montage of Gears only on Xbox, a montage of Fable only on Xbox, montage of Clockwork Revolution only on Xbox. Like you could start doing that with the games you want to be exclusive to your platform. I think that games as a service got to be multi-platform, right? Even PlayStation is still admitting that, right? I think there are definitely certain single player games that should probably be multi-platform because they're just not big enough to sell solo, right? Like
Mhm.
Hellblade, for example, right? Like I don't know, man. There's a way to do it and be smart about it. And dude, I'm telling you, if she turns Xbox around, again, this is what I told Ron last night, and what I told Cog, dude. Her crown is being fitted right now, and she will be legendary forever for Xbox.
But I I think my thing is, why are people crying now for Xbox to have exclusives?
I mean, they
When
were when they announced it, right? And
but
then you just have these. Here's the thing: there are a lot of, we'll say, Xbox influencers who say what they need to say to get their, you know, get the attention of Xbox, right? And I think Xbox, out of all of the communities that are championing these platforms, right? Like, I don't want
Mhm.
to, I mean, fanboys, really, you, if you want to use that term. I think as much as I love Xbox, I love the Xbox. I think, you know, we both do.
Yeah.
I think the Xbox fanboys are far and away the worst of all of them. And I'm not saying all of the Xbox fanboys are the worst. I'm saying the ones that champion the hardest and are the loudest on the internet
Yes.
are the worst ones. I'm not going to name names. I think people know who they are, but uh you know, it's just they're going to say what they need to say, and there have been quite a few of them who have been caught flip-flopping on their message about exclusives, and to the point where they're like being proven that they're deleting tweets and blue sky posts about things that they've said previously because they are, you know, it's just like, oh my gosh, guys, come on. You know,
But
I mean, we're just lucky that this I mean, again, this is a Nintendo show, so it doesn't matter, but like we're just lucky that we don't our whole kind of business model, if you will, not that it's a business because businesses make money, but uh that we don't base our content off the free stuff that we get, you know, because we do get, I mean, we get a lot of free stuff, you know, like our Boss Rush does. I don't, you know,
yeah.
I kind of leave it to Lasby to distribute that stuff, right? Like it's not important to me, but it's important overall for them, right? And you know, it's very rarely, I mean, obviously Bungie stuff I'll take because I'm friendly with them, but not
Mhm.
like I mean, go listen to like half of the 264 episodes of Tower Casuals that are out right now. Like, I bet at least half of them are negative about Destiny. So, um, you know, it's just
But this is the thing about it because, like, this even plays a part in Nintendo because people cried. I'm gonna preface this that way back in the early days, everybody had an idea, or not everybody had an idea. There should have been a box that played everybody's games to eliminate exclusives. And then everybody was talking about, well, Nintendo games need to be on other platforms because they're not selling, even though Nintendo games were selling on Wii U, and before the Switch came out. So those games were selling, they were doing numbers. So whether you say they weren't or not, I'm like, they were doing numbers because once again, those games that came on the Nintendo platforms weren't closing studios or anything.
yeah, but also
Yeah.
we've also talked about how Nintendo's budgets are just operated differently at this point, right? Like
Mm.
they just like I mean, when you look at Pokemon Legends ZA and it that budget, what'd they say it was like 13 or what was it? It was either 13 or $30 million. I don't either way, it was ridiculously low, right? And they made all their money back after like
A week, I think.
a week or less than that, right? And like
Mhm.
3 days, whatever. And like, dude, you look at that, and granted, it's not the greatest looking game or whatever, but like even at $30 million or whatever, and you look at Spider-Man 2, which was $320 million to make. Th You know what I mean? Like, it's but man, it's just I don't know, man, budgets.
What 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 the thing, like I said, this the like you said, flip flopping. The cry out for exclusives for these consoles. They're just like, well, everybody's game should be on everybody's system. Th- Just think of how the numbers was gonna sell. So people are thinking about sale numbers, but that really didn't come. That just never happened in a sense. It was just like, well, it's better where these games are staying on these consoles in their setup. Could Microsoft had no choice but to go stay first party, but still be like third party on other people's consoles because as a business they were making money that way because the games were
Well,
selling
yeah,
on
but
their
also, like,
platform.
they haven't even sold 40 million Xboxes, which is, like, a
Mhm.
third of what the PlayStations have sold, which is, like, great. Okay, like, here's the thing, I understand, like, they don't have a global foothold, but I think they also have to manage expectations of, like, we just sell in North America. We're not gonna sell in Japan. You know,
Mhm.
we need to be homers for a while and just focus on, you know, and one of the things that Asha Sharma said was core before more. So like, you know, focusing on our core audience before we try to expand into more. And
Yeah.
obviously you want to find that balance of both, but like um that that's to me that's a good sign, but also you got to manage expectations of like, well, if we're going to go back to exclusives, you know, if we're only selling 30 or 40 million boxes, it means we're only going to sell like, you know, at the highest, with something like Halo or something like 7 or 8 million units maybe, right? You got to manage those expectations. You're not going to you look at I
It
mean, you look at Sony
if
like
if
the
if that if that game is on the comes to console, not if they come to console and PC. PC might expend them
well,
more,
I'm
just to let
talking about
everybody know.
I know PC is a different thing
Right.
in my
Yeah,
like the Microsoft gaming platform that developers use is the same across Xbox and PC, and it's not changing,
mm,
right? Like the Windows open development platformers, I forget what it's called. But
mm,
anyways, like it's if you're talking about like really sticking to the core of what Xbox does well, right? And what
mm,
Xbox is and recommitting to the console market, like you have to manage the console expectations, you know, and you have to be fine with it. And a company like Microsoft can be fine with it because they have, they're $1 trillion company,
company. Yeah.
but you have to have the company, Satya Nadella has to say it's okay to like only sell 80,000 copies of Kiln, right? You know,
Yeah.
because Kiln's never going to be a million seller, right? But you have to have stuff like that if you're committed to, what you want the Xbox brand to be, what she says she wants the Xbox brand to be, which is protect our art, makers before managers, all these, buzzwords and phrases, right? Like
Yeah.
you have to stay committed to that, right? You can't pull a Tango Gameworks where like, hey, this game's amazing, it won all kinds of awards, we're going to shut you down now, right? You
Which
can't do
is
that.
which that's what and that's why people praise Iwata when he took that salary cut, even because of the games of just the Wii U not selling as it did. And he was just like, I want to keep my employees. We can't make money if we don't have the employees to make the games. Like
Right.
the
But
kind of talents.
that was like, again, that like we always bring that up, and I again I think that
Mhm.
everybody
I mean, just
everybody
I mean,
knows that that was a noble gesture of doing that. But
yes.
I think people who are like business savvy know that that's not where his money comes from. It does not come from the developers studios,
But
right? But it
yes,
was like, but like
but I
obviously that money can be distributed differently, and
differently.
they can kind of make a business plan around that now that they don't have to pay whatever this salary is, right?
But
But
he
like,
right, but it was in the idea of not closing a studio. Even though we sold this many copies on this platform, it's not worth the closure, guys, because of sale numbers. And if Microsoft is not saying that if they're taking the same stance or anything, but if they believe that the all the developers that are under the Xbox name for them to make sure that they keep people so they can make games and know that, hey, we may not make this money back. Of course, but that might be a different factor. It's that not the same mentality. It's that idea of we got to make sure that with the games that we bring out from these developers, it shouldn't be the one and done kind of feeling that you bring a game out, it get critical acclaim, but that acclaim is not resulting in sale numbers. So we're going to shut you down. Because if that was the
mhm.
case, and for Xbox would have no game studios at all. And not just because of Game Pass. I'm excluding Game Pass. Not because of them, because people are not going out to buy those games. So if we're
Mhm.
going to do the exclusive thing, people have to go out and get those games, whether it's physical or digital. You know.
Yeah, I also think like, I mean, again, I think the big elephant in the room right now is, well, there's really like three of them, right? Where like there's the multi-platform strategy, there's
Mhm.
uh the next Xbox is going to be a PC hybrid kind of console, and then you have the Game Pass element, which is like right now. as of today, like all first party stuff is on Game Pass, which you could totally do a tier that is just first party, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And like the rumor is that they're gonna maybe go like some sort of like essentially cable package thing where like you just go to xbox.com/Game Pass or whatever, and you just kind of click which things you want, right? Like, do you want the Activision Blizzard package? Do you want the Bethesda games in here? Do you want first party and indies? Do you want the indies special? Do you want just PC? Like, there's a rumor that that's going to happen. And I think they have, obviously, it's going to be much simpler than that, hopefully, but like, um, you gotta get people to start buying games on your platform again. You got
Well,
like,
my
when marathon, right?
yeah.
Again, it has sold maybe 2 million units total, right? It hasn't sold like gangbusters, but um, it's only sold 120,000 units on Xbox approximately. Like, that's not very many for a Bungie shooter to sell
Mhm.
120,000 copies on your platform. And PlayStation is not much better. I think they sold like 350 or 400,000 units on PlayStation,
Multiplayer
but
basis on PC
yeah, I mean, it's a
in
hardcore
a
extraction
sense.
shooter. It's going to be on PC, but
Mhm. Well, I think so, because the contract stuff, like, Call of Duty and Nintendo, like, I that's gonna be a big lawsuit, I feel like.
what do you mean?
I feel like that Microsoft is not fulfilling the 10-year contract
Call
for
of Duty's
Call of
coming to
Duty.
Switch 2 this year. They already said it is.
Yeah, but does that start the 10-year contract, though?
I mean,
That's the question.
probably. I mean, they said that. I mean, the reason why it hasn't come to Switch 2 yet is because they haven't had dev kits. So you can't,
Mhm.
like, if Nintendo doesn't provide them dev kits, that's not Microsoft's fault. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I do understand that, but
And the
I
fact that
just
like
wonder.
Bethesda got them before Activision Blizzard got them, right? I mean, like, they announced Overwatch 2 for Switch 2 before the Switch 2 came out, and then we just got it
Mhm.
because Blizzard just got the dev kits like 6 months ago. So like, and that's by porting the game off of Switch 1 to Switch 2, right? And that's not like
Yeah.
starting over, starting a new game. So like, I mean, I look, they said it's coming this year. I don't really care either way, right? Like, whatever. Uh Call of Duty's going to run on Switch 2. It's fine, but it's yeah, I don't even know where we're going with this conversation.
Well, it's well, because the thing about it is that I don't. And of course, we we're just bouncing around and stuff. I
Shocking.
just wonder. I just wonder. You
People love it
know,
when we don't have a plan for this show.
I just wonder when I'm just more concerned about the contract being fulfilled than the games being released and stuff, because it's just like, so is Sony contract gonna run out first before Nintendo's because of the releases of these games, or is it gonna be like when Sony contracts ends, our contract ends for Nintendo players? And if it does, we're gonna feel kinda cheated out in a sense, because 'cause it'd be like, well, Sony got these, I'm just gonna say 10 games because they come out annually. So, Sony got these 10, or I would say 9, Call of
I
Duty
I
games,
really
and
think
we
I
only got
really don't think
this.
anybody cares this much about it. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you're playing Call of Duty, you're playing on PlayStation or Xbox. If you really
Mhm.
want to play Call of Duty, you're playing on those platforms. This is more of like maybe it's crossplay and I can like level up in Warzone for I'm going on vacation. I don't feel like lugging my Xbox, right? Like, this is that. I don't. Also, like, they never kind of said which Call of Duties are coming. It could just be a bunch of remasters of old games, which is also fine. It would probably actually be better to put like a Modern Warfare trilogy collection together, or or a Black Ops trilogy or saga collection together. Like that
Most
would almost be better, in my
most
opinion.
I think everybody was just thinking like, well, since there's a new Call of Duty annually, it will come out on every system once it
And it probably
releases.
will. I mean, if it comes out on Xbox
Mm,
Series S, it's going to come out on. I mean, dude, Call of Duty up until Black Ops 6 was coming out on Xbox One, and they still run on the same engine. They're just moving on.
yeah.
This thing runs on Series S. It's running on Switch too, right? We read that article earlier about Indiana Jones, right? Like
Mhm.
that's coming to Switch too soon, and they said that it's a parity with the Xbox Series S version. It runs at 4K 30. They've really optimized it for that. Obviously, Machine Games is a different studio than the ones that work on
Yeah.
Call of Duty, but like, Microsoft will spend the time to get it right, I think. And yeah, I don't know. Again, we're spending a lot more time on Call of Duty than I anticipated, but
Well,
um,
I was just thinking of more just of the contract with the exclusive talk.
I
Just be
really
like,
don't think anybody's thinking about that right now
well, I'm just talking for me, speaking for myself, because
because
I
you're
feel
gonna buy
like
Call of Duty every year.
uh, maybe I do also Call of Duty games. Advanced Warfare. I love the story for
And
Advanced
Advanced Warfare
Warfare,
was 10 years ago, dude.
but I did buy it.
10 years ago.
And Modern Warfare. I didn't get Modern Warfare 2 and 3, but I
Yeah.
did buy it. I didn't say that I would not buy it on Switch too. Don't be betting your eyes at me. I'm just speaking like if those contracts are over, is there going to be that exclusive?
I mean, when they
Um,
decided that Xbox was going multi-platform, these contracts were probably terminated because it was going with the assumption that Call of Duty would be exclusive, right?
mhm,
Or would not be exclusive, but everything else would be. They proved that not only was Call of Duty not exclusive, but there's also a PlayStation 5 Pro version, which is better than the Xbox versions. So I just I don't think people really care that much.
but
Um,
it was just a contract thing with Nintendo for me, because I'm like,
it's always about Nintendo for you, Ed. Always about.
of course, um, because you know, I think the games that do come out for Switch or Switch 2 from Microsoft works. There's a good business thing there and stuff. And so, because even though that Cuphead isn't Microsoft's property or anything, people did go out and really support Cuphead on Switch. You
Yeah, but
know,
also like it's like that style of game people want on the Switch, right? Like that indie
yeah,
style kind of experience. So, I mean, that didn't surprise me really that it sold
because
well.
because I think a lot of us were surprised that Ori and the Blind Forest and that and the sequel came to Nintendo Switch. I'm like, Ori's on Switch? Like, I that really Ori is the kind of game that really fit Microsoft. It felt like an Xbox game, and we were fine with it. So that's why something like that was a shock to me and stuff.
Yeah.
That's that's why I kind of say like modern gaming kind of like just change stuff. You mentioned like, when it became East versus West, it was really like Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter. With Mortal
Hmm.
Kombat being Midway Games here in Chicago and Capcom being in Japan with Street Fighter. That was kind of like the East and West. But it was only in fighting games at that time because, nobody really was worried about EA because EA was only doing majority sports games. um, for for America, or really for just around the world in a sense,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
And then as modern gaming came and advanced, and all the games started being for everybody, different kind of games for and that was developed here in America and Japan and the UK. We got all of this, you know, different tastes of gaming in a sense.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Mm,
I mean, Microsoft's in a position where she like it felt like doom and gloom until Asha Sharma made everybody think she could just hit the reset button. And I
mhm.
think right now they're experimenting with different stuff so that when Helix launches, they are in a much better position than when the Xbox One and the Xbox Series consoles launched, right? And they have to be in a better position. They have to be in a position where they have launch titles, they have a compelling reason to buy the box, they have, a reason to really make Xbox a brand that people like outside of the super fans, right? Like care about. I would
So,
love to have an Xbox Helix in my living room at some point,
um,
but if
mm,
it's $1,000, there's no way, right? Like I can't
everybody's been
afford
saying
that right
I
now,
had I was listening to a Fine Time podcast, and they were just like, "If PlayStation 6 was $1,000, would you buy it?"
I mean, it might very well be close to it. I mean, I know they want to have it cheaper than the PlayStation 5 Pro is the word, but also like by the time these consoles come out, maybe there's this AI boom that bubble will burst and like components will
Versus
start coming down in price. But
mhm. But this is my thing. Uh, I'm not so much worried about Project Helix and Xbox getting the messaging. I need gamers to move on from the Xbox One messaging. And it I think once they move on from the Xbox One messaging, I'm not talking about the players. I'm not talking about Xbox themselves.
yeah.
Would that create a resurgence of people going out and supporting the Xbox brand by buying their boxes without having to go back using the PlayStation 4 and Sony this is like here's a new console, we got games, some are exclusive, ready to go. Are you going to go support us?
Mhm.
We're offering this, that, and this is what the functionality is. Are you gonna go out and support? Don't hold on to our messages from 10 years ago or that message or the idea of 10 years ago. That's all in the past. This is a new direction. This is a new road for us. Will
Mhm.
you walk that road with us?
Yeah. Well, I
You
guess
know,
uh I guess we'll find out, huh? Sooner than later.
it's like Nintendo, they were just like, yeah, we're still gonna do what we're gonna do. We're gonna change the
Which
game
is
up.
fine. Like Nintendo, I think Nintendo is out of all these companies, and we said this when the Switch came out. Or we said this like even before like the pandemic, where like I think we thought Nintendo found the happy medium of like convenience versus power versus pricing, right?
Mhm.
And like I still think the Switch 2, even though it's a little bit more on the expensive side, has kind of found that. And if these consoles are $800-900 and like the Switch 2 can play Resident Evil and Pragmata and Cyberpunk in games like that moving forward still at like a decent frame rate, and they're I mean, the most expensive thing you're going to buy is a controller after the console, right? I mean, it's what
But
what
then you
won't
gonna
you be able, what won't you be able to play on the Switch 2? Like Marathon, Destiny, GTA, like okay. Like I don't think Nintendo fans are getting, or I don't think those fans are Switch game like Nintendo fans anyway, right? Like I mean,
mhm.
obviously there's crossover, but like so
The Nintendo Nintendo community are not missing out when they could experience so much more, where they don't have to rely on the GTA and Marathon and all of these, other games and stuff. I think Nintendo players and communities is just like we're fine for those games to be being on the other systems.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, if I could play Pokemon Wind and Water on my Switch 2 and it does and the game does numbers, I'm going to enjoy this because I'm like, it continues to happen. You could talk all about GTA 6. That game could come out, then that game could be forgotten in 2 months, 4 weeks. Pokemon Wind and Water comes out, and you could just see people still talking about that game, videos on social media, like content coming out of that stuff. People dressing as these characters or making, like stuff out of it. Like there's so much that could still come out of it. And like I said, I'm like, you could have a game of the year title. That's great and dandy. But Nintendo just knows how to market stuff and show you um these games, and then the community will back that up by showing their experience with those games. I mean, because at this point, whose game of the year is being taught in a college class as an engineering class? Because Tears of the Kingdom is, and that was only a nomination.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I guess I don't know. I am kind of concerned for some developers, but like I think, you know, first of all, I don't think we need these new consoles yet, like at all. This feels like
mm-mm.
a shareholder push than an actual um the console holders really want to. But at the same time, I think I just don't think we need it. I don't even think we've tapped into the potential of these other consoles yet. Like, really, you know, I don't know, man. We're in such a different time, also, where like clearly the scalability of games is far different than it was even 10 years ago, like even 5 years ago, right? I mean,
Yes.
it's gonna be a challenge to scale down, but also like, dude, they got freaking Kingdom Come Deliverance to run on Switch 1. They're working on Crimson Desert for Switch 2. You know, Cyberpunk launched on Switch 2, right? Like they got Doom and Wolfenstein 2 running on Switch 1. Like there's
Mhm.
these games can, like, even if you have to work a little bit harder, these games can scale. And they scale relatively well if you you know, clearly have the right team and the right hardware on it. So, I
I
again,
think that's
I just don't think, like, people are still playing Fortnite on Switch 1, right? Like, that's
mhm.
look, if you have a child and the console plays Minecraft and Fortnite and, you know, Mario, like, you really think they're gonna, you know what I mean? Like, people are gonna have a
Right.
hard enough time upgrading to Switch 2 right now, I mean, Pokopia seems like the first true console seller, right? Like, true
Yeah.
console seller aside from maybe Mario Kart for normal
Donkey
people, but
Kong.
like Donkey Kong's not a console seller.
Some people feel like it was. It should have been like if you're getting like
It
if you're
it's not
if you
Mario or Zelda though. It's not gonna. It's not.
yeah.
I feel like I still feel like Donkey Kong did not sell as well as they really wanted it to.
I think yes, but I think the reactions when it first came out, people felt like it was a console seller. That there's like if you're going to get a Switch 2, you should also get Donkey Kong Bonanza.
I mean, I
Uh,
think, yeah, if you have a Switch 2, but I don't know if like the normal person's gonna go out and buy a Switch 2 just for Donkey Kong. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, yeah. I mean, but that's for any console
Like, I mean,
in a sense.
if you go out and buy it for Pokopia and you want another game, then oh, Donkey Kong, I'll get that too. Like it's
Yeah.
a I'll get that too game when I buy the console, right? Not that's again, that's just my opinion, but that's also how I feel about Metroid Prime, right? Like
Mhm.
it's not a system seller, but I'll get that too, if
But I think that's a lot of games, like, it like with Switch 2, there's a lot of games people could get and have a really big library. Like, even if you just get to 5 games, that's a great library to start off with. You know, Mario Kart, Pokopia, Bonanza, and I'm just talking about first party. Age of Imprisonment is a good one to have. Um, Animal Crossing, or if you haven't played Breath of the Wild: Tears of the Kingdom, you finally playing Switch. Those are 2 great ones. Even though those past games, you may not even own those games in your collection. You heard everybody talk about them. You see the accolades, but shoot, here's another offer. Yeah, like the Switch 1 upgrades to Switch 2 for the prices. It's those Switch 2 versions of the games being out. Like, those are opportunities for people to build their library and
mhm,
stuff if they didn't have it on Switch 1.
yeah.
You know, but third party, we got Pragmata. Cyberpunk is a good one. Star Wars Outlaws and Assassin's Creed Shadows is a good one. Resident Evil Village, not Village, Requiem is a good one. And then there's like still more that is coming out that we're waiting for. And there's just games that's Banjo Kazooie, not Banjo Kazooie, Ukulele, the remaster one. Like the Switch 2 version of that came out. Um and everything. Like there's so much that for Switch 2 that could now be offered. And then there's just like there's still games that we're waiting for to be announced and everything.
Mhm.
So I don't know. Like when Helix and PlayStation 6 come out, it's gonna be like, yeah, great systems. But are you guys gonna hide these once again under trailers, or are you gonna show us actual gameplay? What are we actually gonna get out of this game and
Yeah.
everything?
Yeah. Well,
Cause shoot, we could shoot. uh, I can show you some PlayStation 3 trailers that would look good as some of the trailers from today. That don't mean
I mean,
nothing of
Killzone
its.
2 is the big one, right? I mean, that's the
Oh
that's
yeah,
the
that was a
that's the something,
beautiful
right?
trailer.
I mean, dude, everybody thought PlayStation 3 was gonna like be the second coming, apparently.
Hmm.
Like it did look good though. I mean, Killzone 2, that game was fine, but I mean, it looked amazing when they revealed it. Uh, good
Yes,
times.
I
Good
still haven't beat
times.
Killzone 1 is the only well, and then the 4th game, but 2 and 3 I beat back to back, for it. 2
Yeah,
took me a longer time.
I
Oh, go
never
ahead.
played I only played 2, and I played the one that came to PlayStation 4 at launch, uh,
Oh,
Shadowfall.
Killzone, yeah.
I almost said Lightfall. I'm like, that's Destiny. Uh,
It was fine.
so anyways, um, yeah,
So
I don't know. I feel like, I hope I'm like really rooting for Asha to really pull Xbox out of the gutter, man. Because like the farther and farther we get from like Phil and Sarah, the more and more
mhm,
like you get like the layers of what is really going on over there is really starting to show itself, and it's like, dang, dude, like I can't believe all that was going on over there. Like I can't believe that was all like I can't believe how big of a hole they're in now, right? Like, I mean, we knew, but like, I don't know. It was like a, I don't know, man. Anyways,
Hey, well, oh, I,
no
I
yawning.
no, I think like I said, we were going to give her a year. We know the Xbox showcase is a big thing, the same as with Nintendo. Um, with the Nintendo president, just like we're going to give her that same time.
Yeah, but
You
Nintendo's in
know,
a much different position.
but yeah, but I think it like it's two women leading. You
Well,
know,
I wouldn't
it's
say she's leading.
I know.
I would say Devin Pritchard is the mouthpiece for America. We all know Japan's in charge. Come
Yes,
on.
but I think it's good to see this representation and see what they could and see what they could do and everything. So it's going to be um, and I'm not doubting Xbox. I'm not doubting that Ashra uh
Sounds like you're doubting her.
can't do it. You know, or doubt her. She once again, just like Reggie, had a lot of work to get those systems to where they were at, to get that name to where it's at, and I believe that she's making the right moves, getting Xbox, um, to a point that it needs to be in, because there's just so much greatness that's on in the Xbox camp that people are missing out
Well,
because of
it's
their
not even that. It's also the fact that like I just feel like her coming from a background that's not video games has really allowed her to see things differently, right? Like
Mhm.
in terms of just how do we grow this platform into a platform that people care about again, right? Like it's it's important. I think her coming from outside of games is actually like a really good thing.
Yeah,
And
and she has a track record of being very successful.
mhm, yeah. I mean, this is the second time she's been the CEO of a company, right? And like she's 37. Yikes. That makes me feel like a failure. But it's good. Again, I think she's doing some good things and yeah, I'm pulling for her just because like again, she's going to get so much negative stuff thrown at her just not just because she works at Xbox but because she's a woman and she's young and um not to say this the wrong way, but she's an attractive woman. She's a woman of color. Like there's a lot of things going against her on this in this world we live in today, right? Like I'm pulling for her though, you know.
Yeah,
So
and I think once we see the Xbox showcase, I really want to take that day off. Um, I might request that day off so I can watch it. Um, and be able to react to it. I think there's gonna be a lot of great talks. Definitely for the content creators. They're gonna probably be off the handle,
I mean, I don't
you
really
know.
care about the creators. I want to see what
Oh
she has to
yeah.
say. I want to see her. I want to see her on stage and what her stage presence is like because she clearly can like. She seems to have like reinvigorated the whole building somehow.
Hmm.
Um, so I mean, she's putting "We Are Xbox" stickers on the windows. So
So well, Corey, I think we're gonna wrap it up there.
good. Tired.
That's okay. So everybody, that's gonna be it for
My fifth
Expansion
podcast this week,
Fest.
Ed. Come on.
I mean, okay.
I'm
Sure.
just being mean. I'm just being silly.
Everybody, that's gonna be a wrap here on Expression Fast. We'll have more topics to discuss. I kind of feel like this was a nice free free form discussion. And we kind of like to do that from time to time. Definitely at this time of recording, there hasn't been big news on the Nintendo side just yet. But yeah, we will be talking some Nintendo news once something big drops. So with that, everybody, have a great week, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time on Expression Pass. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are
Adriel Munger, Francisco Santillan, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., and Fitzpatrick.
Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network.